So by now, I'm sure most people know that the Expendables 3 ended up getting leaked online. I don't think everyone knows how it happened. More than likely, it was a screener copy. Somebody got a hold of it and decided to post it online, and it was downloaded, I think, 189,000 times within hours of it being posted. And when I heard this, I thought, okay, you know what? I gotta check this out. Why wait another week? Because I was going to see it in the theater anyway. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. So I found a torrent, and I was able to watch the film. Now, I'm actually glad that I was able to see this film early. Because, you know, I got to be honest. This movie fucking sucks! I apologize for anyone that I may have just frightened with that yelling. Jesus Christ. Okay. This is the worst film in the franchise. I really enjoyed the first film. I saw it in the theater. Really liked it. Had its problems, but overall I liked it. The sequel, saw it in the theater, really liked it. When the film came out on Blu-ray, I bought the Blu-ray, I saw it at home. I didn't like it as much, but I still don't hate it. It's okay, but it is definitely a step down from the first film. This film, however, Expendables 3, this is, even though it's probably not as bad, this is like the RoboCop 3 of the franchise. It's not as bad as RoboCop 3. RoboCop 3 is a lot worse, but this is the end. This is the death of this franchise. This is where it's gone completely to shit. Because although there are things about the movie that I thought were okay, overall the movie is not very good. Stallone, I don't understand what's going on, because you had such a great comeback with Rocky Balboa, with Rambo, the first Expendables. Things were going good, and then everything just went to absolute shit. Bullet to the Head sucked. Escape Plan sucked. I didn't see Grudge Match because I heard nothing but bad things. So I didn't want to waste my goddamn time. I just... When everything that was being announced about this movie, I had my reservations. Because I didn't think that this movie was going to be as good as the first film, because they had already taken kind of a huge step backwards, but I didn't think it could be this bad. And again, it's not as bad as, say, like RoboCop 3, but the reason I compared it to RoboCop 3 is because this is where RoboCop 3 was an attempt to make the film more mainstream and an attempt to basically bring in more people. They made it PG-13, they had a line of toys. This movie doesn't really have that because they're not trying to get it to appeal to kids, but they are still trying to appeal it to younger audiences because they want to make more money. And they must be desperate because this movie only cost $90 million compared to the first two. I think the first one cost, I want to say $80 million, and then the second one cost more, cost $100 million. But because that one only made like $200 million and some dollars back, I guess the studio didn't want to risk as much money this time, so this one costs less than the second one. Okay, cost $90 million, whatever. I had my doubts and my reservations because nothing I heard about this movie, either the fact, okay, they had Antonio Banderas and they had Wesley Snipes. That's the only thing that I thought was even remotely good that was announced. The fact that they wanted to bring in the younger people, the younger characters. Okay, why? I don't know, because you got to bring in more money. Which is nothing new. Hollywood was built on greed. This entire fucking country is built on greed. Whatever. You gotta make money somehow. But the thing that really irked me about this was Stallone's insistence to make this movie PG-13. Basically, he admitted that it was an attempt to bring in more people, to get it to appeal to the new generation. And what he really means by that is to make more money. And I know you got in this movie Mel Gibson as the villain. I'll get to him in a second. I still think Mel Gibson is a good actor. Do I like him as a person? No, he's a dick. I wouldn't ask him for his fucking autograph, but he's still a good actor. On the flip side, there's actors I don't like who are really nice people. Life's a bitch. Shit happens. What are you going to do? That's how it goes. So, when I found out this movie got leaked, I thought to myself, look, I was going to see this movie in the theater because I saw the first two in the theater. I might as well go see this one. And that's what I was going to do. I was going to go see this in the theater with my friends, whatever. Then it got leaked, and I said, you know what, fuck this. Let me just watch the movie now, because if it sucks, I don't want to spend my money. And going back, before I get to the movie, I just want to get this stuff out of the way. I saw the trailer. I wasn't too impressed. What they showed was not that spectacular. And then I saw that they had Kelsey Grammer in there, which I didn't even know he was in this until I saw the trailer. Harrison Ford, of course, I forgot to mention, he's in this. The trailer wasn't that impressive. And I saw that they did that thing where, okay, the young people come in, they get taken hostage, and of course Stallone's got to put together his old crew. He's got to go save them, which is what happens in the movie. And I'll go over the plot in a second. So the trailer was not very impressive. The fact that it was PG-13 really sucked. But I thought about it for a while. Honestly, I think they were all meant to be PG-13 because none of the films have any real cursing. I've never heard the word fuck in any of them. This one especially, but like in the first two, which were rated R, I never heard the word fuck, not even once. Most of the violence in the first two films is CGI. So I'm willing to bet money that they were all intended to be PG-13. But Stallone basically caved under the pressure and made them all rated R. Not real rated R, because it's just a bunch of fucking CGI blood most of the time. Here, there's no blood. It's PG-13, there's not a single speck of blood. Well, maybe like a little aftermath on some people, but that's about it. So, I kind of knew this was going to be bad, but I thought this could at least be somewhat enjoyable. Maybe a little bit. I could think it was at least okay like the second one. But no, this movie sucks. Let me just get into the plot. Okay, the movie opens up, like you saw in the trailer, you see a train, they're in some third world country, the Expendables show up, it's Stallone, it's Statham, Dolph Lundgren, and Randy Couture. Okay, it's just them. You see the train, they come up to the train, they see that they're nearby, the people on the train, they go out, they try to shoot at the chopper, and the guys, they shoot at him, they knock him down. You don't see anything, they just get shot, they fall over. Then they pull out one of those big anti-plane guns, you know what I'm talking about? Those ones with like the target and the big two barrels. You sit in and you shoot like that. Stallone gets low in front of the train so that they can't hit them. Then eventually they're able to get a shot and knock the guy off the thing, if I remember correctly. They get on the train. And before this, they set up this rope. One of those like wired ropes that's made out of like those thick wire ropes. They put it on the near the track up ahead. And actually, that's what knocks them down. I'm sorry. This stuff's already leaving my memory. I saw the movie last night. This is a completely different day. I'm home from work, so bear with me here, folks. They come by the rope, and the rope knocks them down, and it's done with CGI. There's no blood, nothing. They just fall off, and you kind of can tell what's going on. There's some quick cutting here. It's done with CGI, and they all kind of fall over. Okay, and then they pull up, and they board the train. Jason Statham fucks a couple people up, but it's nothing spectacular. And they're there to rescue Wesley Snipes' character. They get him out. They are about to leave, but Wesley Snipes is like, fuck this. He goes to the front of the train, fucks some people up. quickly. Nothing spectacular. And then he gets into the front of the train where there's this big, like, mortar cannon, I guess it is. It's like a cannon. And he starts shooting this compound where the rest of these military guys from this country are at. Because he wants to kill them, because he was imprisoned by them for so long. As they're getting close to this, he jumps off the train and gets to the chopper. The train comes in and it blows up the station. The compound, whatever the fuck it is. And it kills everyone inside. Big explosion, decent, and then you get Expendables 3. And the thing is, though, the title card, it says Expendables 3 with a number, whereas in the trailers, it's the Roman numeral version of 3 with the 3 lines. So, I don't know, it doesn't fucking matter. Shortly after that, they're on the plane. Wesley Snipes' character, who does alright. Like, Wesley Snipes, he does alright. He's having fun. He plays kind of like a weird, crazy, out there character. He likes knives. He likes to use knives. Doesn't use them a lot in the movie, but has this little conversation with Dolph Lundgren and Randy Couture. And they start talking about how he killed more people than the plague. And that's why they call you Dr. Death. And he's like, no, because I used to be a medic. And I think it's Randy Couture asks, then what'd you go to jail for? And Wesley Snipes says, tax evasion. Get it? Because Wesley Snipes actually went to jail for tax evasion. It's not funny. And I knew there was going to be a joke about that in this fucking movie. I should have fucking known. But I didn't think that Stallone would be that dumb. But God damn it. Okay. Shortly after that, he shaves his beard. He's got that thick beard. He shaves it with Dolph Lundgren's knife. Goes up to the front of the plane. He has a little conversation with Stallone and Statham. And he says that we got a job. And Stallone says that they got another job. We got to go stop this arms dealer. And we're a man short, and we need your help. And it's in Mogadishu, Somalia. They get there. They run into Terry Crews' character, and he's on a boat. He's waiting for them. They're gonna take down this arms dealer, and they show that Terry Crews has like a minigun. He says, but it blows your wad at 10 seconds though, because that's how long it'll last before it runs out of bullets. And Dolph Lundgren says that, and then Terry Crews says, yeah, you got that same problem. And they all laugh at him. Because apparently Dolph Lundgren has to be a fucking joke in these movies. And Stallone's like, you walked into that one. Dolph Lundgren does nothing in this movie. Nothing. He shoots a couple people. That's it. He's got no memorable lines of dialogue. He's got no awesome, badass moments. Nothing. He's just there. I think there's only one other person in this that does even less than him. And I'll get to who it is in a minute. So then we get the next big action scene. Oh, by the way, the opening scene in this movie where they rescue Wesley Snipes, it's not much of anything. It's nothing spectacular. It's not really that exciting. It's okay. You get some like explosions and that's it. It's the shortest of the opening, pre-credit scenes of all of them. I think it's even shorter than the one from the first film. But it's not much of anything. So this next scene, they're in Somalia. They're trying to get this arms dealer guy. And Wesley Snipes, again, he does decent. He fucks some people up, but you don't really see anything because he's fighting people with machetes, but it's PG-13, so you don't see any blood. He puts a machete to the one guy's neck, and he slices his throat, but you see it from far away. So it's nothing spectacular. They get into this crate, and Wesley Snipes pulls the crate. He's moving the crate. It's one of those big like crates that you put like on a boat. You know what I'm talking about? Those big ass ones. They're in it. He moves it around, and then Stallone sees the arms dealer that they're there to get turns out to be Mel Gibson, who's Stallone's character. If you saw the trailer, they thought he was dead. And instead of just shooting him, he blurts out his name from like behind. Just kill him right then and there. He goes, Stonebanks, because his last name is Stonebanks. And they hear that, of course. They give away their position. They start shooting at him. You get a shootout. Then This all leads to a big chase where they have to get into this truck. They hijack a truck from the bad guys. They get into a little decent chase. They're shooting because there's like a machine gun on the back. And before that, you get a scene with Terry Crews shooting the minigun. And it only lasts, again, 10 seconds. He shoots the minigun, a car blows up, it flips over, people get shot and they fall over, you don't see anything. And lasts 10 fucking seconds. Of course, because that's how long the fucking bullets will last in the gun. And that's really Terry Crews' big moment in the film. That's it. That's all he pretty much gets to do. Why? Well, because after you get this big car chase where they're in this truck, they're shooting, okay, they're shooting, people fall over, some trucks get flipped over, and then eventually Terry Crews and Dolph Lundgren, they're on the boat, on this boat, and they drive the boat, and they launch the boat from this river, because they're on a dock, and it gets to behind the truck that they're in. Shortly after the chase, when they're done killing everybody else, Mel Gibson's character shows up again. He's in a helicopter. He's got this gun with a scope. He's got it on Stallone. He could easily kill him right then and there. Chooses not to. Why? Well, because then you wouldn't have a movie. Instead, he points the gun at Terry Crews, shoots him in the legs, and as he falls down, he shoots him in the back. And then he flies. And then as he's flying away, Mel Gibson's character drops this giant bomb that blows up the dock. And they jump into the water. And this whole thing was okay. It's nothing special. It's a decent little chase. You get some cool explosions, some stuff being fired off, but it's nothing special. And it's kind of lame because you don't see anything happen. Do people just get shot? When people are getting hit with a knife or something, they fall and then it just cuts away. People get shot and they just kind of fall over. And it's not like this movie... Okay, look. It's not like a PG-13 action movie can't be good. The problem is that PG-13 action movies now are everywhere. There's a shitload of them. R-rated action movies are a fucking rarity. Okay? Except for maybe in the direct-to-video market. But most of those movies suck. And that's really my biggest problem here. This movie doesn't have an edge. That's why I compared this to RoboCop 3. RoboCop 3 was the pussy version of RoboCop. And this is the pussy version of the Expendables. Because you don't see anything. Seeing someone get their, have a knife to their throat and then it just cuts away and you hear a slicing noise, is not as cool as actually seeing someone's throat get ripped out. I mean, fuck, the Raid 2 had problems, but at least it was fucking, it was bloody out the ass. But shortly after this scene, it blows up. Terry Crews' character isn't dead. They get him out of there, and he's in a hospital. And that's the end of Terry Crews' character in this movie. That was it. That moment where he's carrying the minigun, that's all he really does. After that, his character's out of the movie until the very end. So that's it. That's all Terry Crews really gets to do. He shoots that minigun for 10 seconds, and that's it. Shortly after that, we meet Harrison Ford's character. Because I know that Bruce Willis, he wanted too much goddamn money. They refused to pay it to him. So they were like, fuck you, Bruce Willis, you're an asshole. And they brought in Harrison Ford. Essentially playing the same character. But he's the same character, but he's a different guy. He says, you don't have to worry about Church anymore. He was dealt with. So I guess they killed off Bruce Willis's character off camera. That's basically what Harrison Ford's character implies. Sorry about the slurred words. And this thing is filled with vodka, by the way. No, I'm kidding. It's water. So, shortly after that, Stallone is complaining. You didn't tell me that it was Stone Banks. You told me his name was something else. And he said, look, this guy killed a bunch of people on our side. I don't care what his name is. I want him dead. Do what you got. Well, not dead. They say, I want him brought in. Do what you got to do, but you bring him in. So, shortly after that, Stallone, they're at Stallone and his crew, what's left of the Expendables. They're sitting in a bar, and he tells them, you guys are done. I'm not going to work with you guys anymore because this life is too dangerous, and I can't stand to see something bad happen to you guys, and you know, you guys are done. We're not working together anymore. He says, you're retiring us? Yeah. I'm going after Stone Banks alone, without you guys, later. And soon after that, and then after that, we're introduced to Kelsey Grammer's character, Bonaparte, who is he's like Mickey Rourke's character from the first film. He's like a manager for mercenaries. He finds mercenaries and he gets them work. Stallone tells him that he's going after Stone Banks, Mel Gibson's character, because he's still alive. And he says, I need young people. They're willing to fight and they're willing to take a bullet. And then for this big chunk of the movie, by the way, those first two action scenes happen in the first 20 minutes of the film. After that, there's a huge stretch of the film where there's no action. Because right now, all we get is Stallone and Kelsey Grammer going from place to place, finding this new group of people. You get the girl who can fight. You get this one guy who's a rock climber, and he's a computer hacker. And then there's like two other dudes who can fight. And that's a big chunk of the movie. During this, we're introduced to Antonio Banderas' character, Galgo, which means greyhound in Spanish. And he sent like a fake resume to Kelsey Grammer. That's what he says. You sent me another fake resume. And he says, look, man, I gotta work. There's only one thing I know what to do in this world, and that's killing. And he's like, no. Why Kelsey Grammer doesn't want Antonio Banderas to be involved in this? I have no idea. Why he doesn't want to get to work? I don't know. I don't think that's ever really explained. Maybe because he's too crazy or something? I don't know. And as they're leaving, after meeting Banderas, he's like, God damn it! I need work! Oh, Banderas. It's nice to see Banderas again. But the thing about his character is, as we find out later, is that his character never shuts the fuck up. He talks a lot. Too much. And I guess it was supposed to be funny, but it was only funny for like 30 seconds. But he literally never shuts the fuck up. He's always talking. And it just got on my nerves after a while. And most of the shit he said wasn't really that funny. He's having fun. He's giving it his all. It was cool to see him in there. So, eventually, you get the whole group together. And this is like a good 20 minutes or so of putting this new team together. They track down Stonebank, Mel Gibson, who at this point really hasn't done much of anything. He's going to do a deal. He's selling some weapons to Robert Davi, it's a cameo. He's in one little scene. He's got like 3 lines, and that's it. That's all he fucking does. So, they do this thing where they shut off the lights, and the hacker guy is going to shut off the lights. He's going to fuck with the locks so nobody can get out. You get a little shootout, which isn't really anything because it's shot in the dark, so you can't really see anything. Eventually, Mel Gibson's character goes into this room where the girl is there waiting, and they stun gun him, they knock him out, and they're in this van, and Mel Gibson wakes up, and he has this is a cool little moment. Mel Gibson, he at least gives a decent performance. He doesn't do a whole lot, but at least he gives a little decent performance. He does his little villainous speech talking about how I don't know, generic villain stuff. I can't remember it off the top of my head. And they find out that he's got a tracking device. He's got a watch, and it's a tracking device. They shoot at the van. It flips over. They get Mel Gibson's character out. Stallone is out of the van. He's going to grab a gun. But they shoot a missile at him, and he blows up. And it blows up right in front of his face, too. You think this would have killed him, but no. It's a movie, whatever. Logic goes out the fucking window. He goes flying backwards into this river, hits his head, gets knocked out. Mel Gibson's like, don't kill the young bloods. We might still need them. Find me a body. His goons eventually find Stallone. He gets up, pulls his gun, you know, the six-shooter from a holster, shoots them. Doom, doom, doom. Okay, decent little scene. And then he meets up with Schwarzenegger's character, Trench, who's actually helping him out. And he was actually supposed to meet... They were going to go meet Schwarzenegger's character, who's at an airfield in a plane. When Stallone gets there the next day, he says he got a message. And it's Mel Gibson, you know, like you saw in the trailer, where he says, I got your new team, you want them, you know where to find me, come get me. Or I'm going to kill them. So Stallone decides he's going to go do this alone. And he's getting his, I think he even tells Schwarzenegger to leave, if I remember correctly, because he doesn't want him involved either. That's another thing too. Stallone doesn't want his team to get killed, so he tells them we're not going to do this together. But he's got no problem putting together a group of strangers and having them die. I don't see the logic there. Because that's why he does it. It's not like he thinks his team is useless. He just doesn't want them to end up like Terry Crews's character or worse. I don't even know. So, and this is the big chunk of the movie. The entire middle section of the film, nothing even remotely worth the shit happens. He puts together the group of the Youngbloods. They go get Mel Gibson's character. They get ambushed. And then Stallone decides he's going to go after Mel Gibson and rescue the Youngbloods. This is a big chunk of the movie. And we've only had like 20 minutes of action. Because the shit with the Youngbloods and them getting Mel Gibson in the fucking van flipping over is nothing. None of it was that memorable or exciting. And I don't give a shit about any of these young people. I knew that they were not going to be worth the shit when I saw the trailer. They all suck. I'm not saying that they don't do stuff. They do. They do more than fucking Dolph Lundgren does. Dolph Lundgren can't get a fucking break in these movies. But I don't give a shit about them. This is supposed to be about old school action heroes. Showing that they can still make a good action movie. And that they can still kick ass. And that they still matter. Putting young people like this in this movie kind of undermines that. Especially since the only reason they did it is so that they can make more money. So Stallone is a goddamn sellout. God damn it. Oh. And even the other people, like on his team, like Statham, he barely does anything. Terry Crews is gone. Mel Gibson's villain so far has done fuck all. Except have a little decent villain speech. Kelsey Grammer doesn't do anything. He just helps Stallone find the new group of people. That's it. That's his contribution to this fucking movie. Oh, okay. So, Stallone's getting ready to go rescue the Youngbloods. And who shows up? Antonio Banderas. And he says he wants a job. He says, I need your help. And Stallone is like, no. Banderas is like, please. And Stallone's like, all right, you come with me. There's more to it than that, but whatever. That's basically what happens. And this is where you realize that Banderas' character just talks. He never shuts the fuck up. He's always talking. Constantly. And it's probably supposed to be funny, but it wasn't very funny. And after a while, it just kind of got on my nerves. Because he never shuts up. Unless they tell him to shut the fuck up, he's just talking. All the time. It's cool to see him there. I like Antonio Banderas. He hasn't done much these past couple years. It's cool to see him there. And he does get some cool moments later on, which I'll get to. But his character honestly got on my nerves after a while. Because none of the stuff he was saying wasn't really that funny. And he's always talking. So Banderas and Stallone are going to leave, and of course, the rest of his crew shows up. There's Lundgren, there's Statham, Couture, and Snipes, and they get on the plane, and they're heading out to go rescue the Youngbloods. And then you see that Schwarzenegger is going to go help them out, and who shows up? Harrison Ford in a flight suit, and he's going to go help them out too. And Jet Li's there. And he does nothing. Nothing. He does even less than he did in the second movie. And they're going to go help out the Expendables. And they're going to go save the day. And which leads us to the climax of the movie. They go to this third world country where Mel Gibson's character has the Youngbloods held up in this old, decrepit building. It's like an old, rundown hotel, and he basically owns the military there. He's got them in his pocket. They get there, they're tied up, they untie them, and then a TV screen turns on. You see Mel Gibson, and he says, "I've just rigged this entire building with C4. I could easily detonate it right now and kill all of you, but instead I'm going to give you 45 seconds. Because I'm an idiot." He doesn't actually say that, but still, you could just blow them up. Why go through all this elaborate crap? Why give them 45 seconds? Just blow up the building. But whatever, it's a fucking movie. I know. Logic goes out the fucking window. Villains do this shit in movies all the fucking time. It wouldn't matter if this movie was worth the shit! It's not! So, the computer hacker guy sees that Dolph Lundgren's got this little computer thing on his arm. He takes it and he hacks the signal and he stops the bombs from detonating. The C4 from detonating. But it's only got 9% power. And they're like, "You didn't charge it? It's only got 9%. It's like, and Dolph Lundgren's like, "I don't know. I used it to check the weather." That's what they give Dolph Lundgren to work with. They make him look like a complete idiot. Oh, and he does nothing in the movie. So, Mel Gibson, now seeing that his plan has come back to bite him square in the dick, sends in the military to shoot him. And you got tanks and all the army guys coming in. And this leads into the climax. Get a big shootout. Boom, people are getting shot. You don't see anything, no blood, nothing. Of course, people just fall over, so whatever. And Tony Banderas actually gets some pretty decent moments. There's a chopper that comes in that's shooting at him, and he's running away from it. He jumps from one side of the building to another, and he grabs onto this railing. It, like, breaks, and he comes in through the window and knocks these guys down. Has a decent scene where he fucks these guys up. He shoots them, and he's like, "This is the greatest moment of my life!" And he's shooting people. I mean, he's having fun, at least. These are the best moments, because he's not constantly talking. Decent. Wesley Snipes fights he fights like 2 people. No fights in this movie last longer than a couple seconds, or a minute. And they're really not that spectacular. There's some quick cutting. Not a lot, but there's some. The direction from this young guy, I don't know who the fuck who he is, I've never heard of him, is competent. But the fact that they have to hold back and you can't really see anything really hinders it. Because seeing people just get shot and fall over, it can work, but it's not that exciting. So Snipes, he fights like 2 guys. It's not much of anything. Eventually, this big dude that works for Mel Gibson goes there and he fights Jason Statham, and it's like a little 30-second fight, not much of anything. Eventually, and then Schwarzenegger comes in. Schwarzenegger and Ford are on a chopper, and Schwarzenegger shooting some people. Jet Li shooting some people from above. Okay. Harrison Ford is flying the plane. They get into a little fight with some other choppers, which is all done in CGI. Then eventually Dolph Lundgren and Randy Couture, they get inside of a tank. And Dolph Lundgren shoots the tank once. No. Dolph Lundgren's driving the tank. Randy Couture is the one that shoots it. And that's it. That's Dolph Lundgren's big moment in this movie. Him driving that tank for 30 seconds. He does nothing in this movie. They give him shit to fucking do. Less than even the second movie. Honestly, most of the Expendables don't really do much other than shoot some people. Stallone gets like a couple decent moments where he's shooting some people with the guns, and that's it. But keep in mind, folks, that this last scene in the movie, the climax, this big shootout inside this rundown building with the tanks and shit, this scene and the stuff at the beginning is all the action in this movie, and it's 2 hours long. Because for a big stretch of the film, nothing fucking happens. At least nothing that was worth a shit. This movie is fucking boring. It didn't need to be 2 hours long. This could have been done in 1 hour and 40 minutes. Okay. So, once the army is taken care of, Schwarzenegger's on the ground, and he's going to rally up everybody to get on the plane, on the chopper. And what does he say? He says, "We got to get to the chopper!" Get it? Because he said that in Predator, so we got to rehash that line. And that's not the only line they rehash. They rehash another one later on at the end, where Stallone is like, "I thought you were out of this business," and Schwarzenegger says, "I lied." Because he said that in Commando. Get it? It's funny. Because most of the young people that you get in to see this movie are going to remember those films, right? Because I'm sure people that were born 5 years ago are huge fans of Stallone and Schwarzenegger and have seen all of their movies. Not unless they're related to me. And they live in this house. That's kind of a lie. My sister hasn't seen all of their movies. Okay. But Stallone, of course, has to deal with Mel Gibson. So he stays behind as everyone else flies away. And, oh yeah, before this, you see Schwarzenegger with that big shotgun from the first 2 films again. He shoots some people. They just fall over because it's PG-13. And Jet Li is with him and he shoots some people. And that's it. That's all he does. That's really... Schwarzenegger also really doesn't do much of anything. Then you get the big final confrontation between Mel Gibson and Stallone. And Mel Gibson could easily shoot him. Doesn't do it. He makes him throw away all of his guns. And then Mel Gibson's like, "We don't need these." Throws the gun away. And they fight for like 30 seconds. They punch each other. Mel Gibson, or his stunt double, sweeps the legs out from under Stallone's stunt double. They fight for... Stallone fights back. They're just kind of punching each other. And this lasts for like a minute and a half. Nothing... It's nothing. It's nothing. It's a nothing fight. They're just punching each other for a minute and a half. And it's not exciting at all. And, oh yeah, I forgot to mention that the little thing, the computer thing, that the hacker guy uses to jam the signal of the C4 explosives, if it dies, then it's not jammed anymore, and the building's going to blow. And it's at 1% power. And this is when Stallone grabs his gun, and Mel Gibson reaches for a gun. They turn over. Stallone goes boom, 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 shoots him a bunch of times. And Mel Gibson's on his knees, and he's like, "What about the Hague?" And Stallone goes, "I am the Hague." I don't know. I guess that was supposed to be badass. I am the Hood. What does that mean? It's a reference to a line earlier in the film when they captured Mel Gibson. So then you get that shit in the trailer where the building is blown up in CGI, shitty looking CGI. It looked shitty in the trailers. It looked shitty here. Stallone jumps and, you know, they think he's dead, but you see that he's attached to the rope and he's fine. And then you get the ending of the film where you see that Terry Crews is fine. And they're all at a bar, and the younger people got the expendable tattoos on them. And so did Antonio Banderas' character, because now he's a member of the team. And this movie ends with the young bloods on the stage of that bar that they're all in, singing karaoke. And Stallone and Statham do the whole fist bump thing from the last, like that. And that's the end of the film. And fuck! Does this movie suck? It's too long. There's barely any action. I don't give a shit about any of the young people that they brought in. A lot of the other people, the older guys they brought in, didn't do much. Snipes had a couple decent moments, and he's having fun with his character, but he doesn't really do much. Banderas gets a couple decent moments, and he's having fun, but his character kind of got annoying because he never stopped talking. Terry Crews does nothing except for that one little scene with the minigun at the beginning. Kelsey Grammer does nothing. Why the fuck is he even in this? Harrison Ford doesn't really do anything. Schwarzenegger doesn't really do anything. Jet Li does less than he did in the first two movies. Definitely less than the second one, because at least in the second movie, at the beginning of the film, he had that little fight with the pots and pans. It was something. Mel Gibson's villain, he's got one little decent moment where he spouts off a bunch of generic villain crap. But other than that, and that little tussle, that little piss-poor fight at the end, he does fuck all. And Dolph Lundgren does nothing. He shoots a couple people. That's it. He gets the total shaft in this movie. He might as well not even be in it. Jason Statham gets a couple little... He gets that little fight with the big dude that lasts like 10 seconds. And honestly, this movie, I've said it already, it's boring. There's 20 minutes of action at the beginning. In the middle, whatever action is there isn't much of anything. And then you get the finale of the movie. And this movie's that's it. You get basically 3 fucking action scenes in this entire movie. And that's it. I'm glad that I didn't have to see this movie in the theater, because I would have been even more pissed if I had wasted my money. This is the final nail in the coffin. This is the straw that broke the camel's back. Stallone, I have no more faith in Stallone. That's it. I've taken all I can take, and I cannot stand by him anymore. I still like Stallone. I still like his older movies. But I'm not looking forward to anything else he does. I'm not. Not if it's going to be more of this shit. Expendables 4 is already in the works. Pierce Brosnan is going to be in it. What's he going to do? What? Kill 2 people? That's it? If that? I'm done. This franchise, as far as I'm concerned, is done. There are better movies that came out this year that are better than this. They were PG-13. Non-Stop with Liam Neeson's not an action movie, but I like that. It was better than this. Edge of Tomorrow, fucking great movie. I saw that with a group of people, and we all liked it. I saw it with a group of friends, and I liked it, and all of my friends liked it. It's a great fucking movie. And if this movie makes more money than that, because I know Edge of Tomorrow didn't do too well, I mean, fuck, man. If you're like, well, you should still see this movie because, oh, I want to support old school action. Fine. Give me an old school action movie, or an old school style action movie, and I will support it. This is not an old school action movie. It's not even a good new school action movie because, I mean, fuck. What else? What else came out? What else came out this year? I'm trying to think. I didn't see. I'm trying to think. I think that was it. That's all I saw. Yeah, Nonstop. Edge of Tomorrow was good. Brick Mansions, which I liked. I don't know if I liked it more than District B13, which it was a remake of, because I like Paul Walker more than the guy from District B13. I didn't mind the guy from District B13. He's a really good martial artist. But Brick Mansions had some quick cuts, and District B13 didn't. So, but Brick Mansions, I still liked it. So I'm not sure if I like it more than that one, even though I like Paul Walker more. But District B13 had better. Was shot with the action scenes were shot with less quick cuts, and you didn't have the fucking RZA, which the RZA sucks. And anyway, I don't know. But Brick Mansions I like better. The Raid 2, I forgot. How could I forget? Raid 2 had a lot of fucking problems. A lot of problems. It's better than this. I remember. 300 Rise of an Empire. I know a lot of people didn't like that movie. And it has problems. I wasn't a huge fan of the lead guy. At least acting-wise, he was okay, but his character was kind of generic and bland. But at least that movie was entertaining. When the action was in that movie, it was really well done. It looked cool. And it was rated R, and it was bloody, and it was ridiculous and over the top, but it was entertaining. It was more entertaining than this. Granted, I only saw that movie one time in the theater, so who knows, if I watch it again, I might not like it. It sucks. It sucks that I never thought that Stallone would have a worse time, like a worse decade of movies than he did in the 90s, because in the 90s, I think he only made like 4 good movies. I like Demolition Man, I like Cliffhanger, Daylight, and Copland. I'm pretty sure that's it. Yeah, those 4 movies. Everything else he did, The Specialist, Judge Dredd, Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, was pretty bad. But those movies are fucking masterpieces compared to Bullet to the Head, Escape Plan, and this. Grudge Match I heard was awful. I haven't seen it. I really don't want to. I'm done. This is it. I have officially given up on Stallone. Schwarzenegger, I'm this close. Statham, even like Dolph Lundgren. I don't know. We'll see where he's gone because he's mainly making direct-to-video movies now. He's made some good ones though that I liked. Statham has made a lot of shitty movies. A lot. Homefront fucking sucked. I don't know. But this franchise was supposed to be about old school action and old school action heroes. And it was supposed to appeal to people who grew up with those movies. I'm a really young guy. I'm only fucking 22 years old. I'm turning 23 this year, but I grew up with these old school movies. My mother was very liberal when it came to R-rated movies. Sorry about that. But I'll just end it here. It's long. It's boring. Most of the people that I cared about in this film didn't do much. And Stallone, once again, you have let me down. And I no longer look forward to what you're doing.